Item number SCP-7634, Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures SCP-7634 is stored in a sound-dampened locker at Site-19, Wing C under a double-lock protocol. No personnel are to listen to SCP-7634 without written approval from 2 Level 3 staff. Any audio produced by SCP-7634 must be captured on an isolated recorder and reviewed only in a group setting. Solo listening is prohibited. Description: SCP-7634 is a cheap black handheld radio receiver with a broken tuning dial and a single working button labeled scan. When activated, SCP-7634 locks onto broadcasts that do not exist on any known frequency. The broadcasts consistently describe emergencies that are about to happen in the listener's immediate vicinity with increasing accuracy and detail over time. Prolonged exposure results in paranoia, sleep disruption, and the sensation of being guided into the described event. Addendum 7634-1. The following is a recovered first-person account from Research Assistant 𝐬𝐻, recorded during a routine audio test that violated solo listening protocol. The account ends abruptly. The radio was recovered 11 minutes later, still broadcasting. Recovered log 𝐬𝐻. I'm writing this because if I don't, I'll convince myself I dreamed it. I signed it out like an idiot. Not because I wanted to break rules, because everyone was busy and I was tired of being the extra set of hands who never does anything real. The request form sat there, approved, stamped, ready. The locker opened with that heavy click that always makes you feel like you're doing something important. The radio looked disappointing in person. A plastic rectangle with a little speaker grill full of dust, like something you'd find under a car seat. I brought it to test room 3B. Standard setup. Isolated recorder. Notes template on the clipboard. A security camera in the corner watching me like a bored eye. I remember the room temperature, too cold, always too cold, the kind of cold that makes you aware of your own skin. I pressed scan, static, a soft hiss that crawled into the quiet, then a voice, calm and practiced, like a late-night public service announcement. Attention, this is an emergency broadcast. Remain calm. Do not approach the stairwell. Repeat, do not approach the stairwell. My pen froze mid-scratch. Test room 3B doesn't have a stairwell. It's in the basement. Only one door in, one door out, and a hallway that leads to more hallways. I leaned closer to the speaker like that would make it make sense. If you are hearing this message, you are within the affected area. Keep your eyes forward. Do not turn around for sounds behind you. I swallowed. You know that feeling when your body starts making decisions without asking you? My shoulders went tight. My neck got hot. I looked straight ahead at the cinder block wall like it had answers. The radio clicked again, like it was switching stations by itself, and the voice changed. Different tone, same calm. Field advisory: do not speak your full name out loud. If addressed, respond with a false name. My mouth went dry. The camera in the corner made a soft, mechanical sound, a tiny whir, like it was adjusting. I told myself it was nothing. Routine equipment. This was what I wanted, right? Real work, real anomaly exposure, something to report. I wrote, broadcast references stairwell, no stairwell present. Advisory suggests auditory hallucination risk. My handwriting looked wrong, like someone else's. Then the radio started doing something it hadn't done in the previous summaries I'd read. It started describing the room. Test room 3 Bravo, 1 occupant seated, fluorescent light flicker at 0.7 second intervals. My eyes snapped up to the ceiling. The fluorescent bulb blinked. Not constantly, not dramatically, just a faint hiccup, like a heartbeat you hadn't noticed until someone pointed it out. The occupant is holding a pen. The pen is shaking. I put my pen down so fast it bounced once on the table and rolled. The radio hissed and the voice softened, almost sympathetic. It is already aware you are alone. I stared at the door. It was a plain metal door with a small window. On the other side, the hallway lights were on. Empty. Still. I should have hit the intercom, called security, followed protocol, any protocol. Instead, I picked the radio back up because I felt like if I let go, it would keep talking anyway, and I needed, I don't know, control, something to hold. If you must leave, wait for the third knock. Do not leave on the first knock. Do not leave on the second. I laughed once. It came out thin and ugly. Okay, I said to the empty room because my brain wanted to turn this into a joke. Sure, third knock. The radio crackled immediately like it had been waiting for my voice. Warning, the occupant has spoken. The affected presence now has a reference point. My throat tightened. I stared at the door again. My eyes kept sliding to the little window. It felt like the window was the weakest part of the room. Like if anything wanted in, that's where it would start. The hallway beyond the window looked normal, too normal, clean, quiet, the kind of quiet that isn't peace, it's holding its breath. I didn't hear anything for maybe 10 seconds, maybe a minute. Time started slipping like it does in dreams. The cold in the room pressed into my bones. Then knock just once, gentle like polite company. My whole body went still. It felt like every muscle tried to hide inside my skin. I didn't move. The radio gave a little satisfied click, as if it had predicted the next line in a script. Do not open the door. I wanted to nod, but even that felt risky, like motion would make me visible. A few seconds passed. Knock, second knock, same gentleness, same perfect spacing between the sounds. Like whoever was out there had practiced it. My mouth filled with saliva, sharp and bitter. I swallowed and hated how loud it felt. I stayed in the chair. I kept my eyes forward. The camera in the corner did the tiny whir again. The radio hissed with static, and under the static I heard something else. Breathing. Not mine. It sounded close to the microphone, but the microphone was inside the radio. The radio was in my hands. The voice returned lower now. Do not check behind the table. My eyes flicked down despite myself. The table was a cheap foundation table. Metal legs bolted to the floor, nothing under it but shadow. And the shadow looked thicker than it should, like it had weight. I squeezed my hands so hard around the radio, my knuckles went pale. A third knock should have come, right? That's what the radio said. Wait for the third knock if you must leave. I didn't want to leave, I wanted to disappear, but the door window, the hallway, something about it started to feel wrong. Not visually, not like a monster was standing there, more like the hallway was slowly becoming a picture of a hallway, like a flat image. The depth felt off, the lights down the corridor didn't cast shadows the right way. And then I saw movement, not a person, not a shape, a shift, like something changed position without traveling there, like a frame got skipped. I held my breath. The radio spoke again, and this time I swear it used my voice. Eli, it said. My blood went cold. That's not my name. It's close. It's what my friends call me. It's what I answer to without thinking. And I hadn't told it to anyone in the building. I hadn't said it out loud. The radio continued, using the same voice, the same little throat-clearing habit I have when I'm nervous. Eli, open the door. I'm here. It's okay. My eyes burned. Tears came up fast, not because I was sad, but because my body didn't know what else to do. The voice on the radio was me, and it sounded calm. Behind it, under it, the breathing got louder. I whispered, barely moving my lips, "No." The radio clicked hard, like a tongue against teeth. Correct response, continue to refuse. The hallway outside the window went still again, flat, quiet. Then the third knock came. Knock, same gentleness, same perfect timing. And right after the knock, a new sound started, a soft scratching, like a fingernail dragging across glass. Not from the door, from the little window. Something was drawing a line down the glass, slowly, patiently. I stared at the window and tried to force my eyes to focus. There was nothing there. But the scratch line appeared anyway, inch by inch, like an invisible finger. The radio spoke, cheerful now, like a host resetting the mood. "You may open the door now." My heart slammed against my ribs. I shook my head fast, too fast. No, you said wait for the third knock if you must leave. I don't have to leave." The radio hissed, then the calm voice returned. Not mine, not anyone I knew, smooth as polished stone. "You do have to leave, you just don't know why yet." The scratching on the window stopped. The line on the glass was long now, a clean vertical mark like someone had tested a blade there. I felt a sudden, stupid urge to stand up and press my face to the window to prove there was nothing, like my brain wanted closure so badly it would trade safety for certainty. Instead, I kept staring forward like the broadcast told me. My eyes drifted to the table shadow again. It was thicker, and now it looked like it had edges, like a shape pretending to be shadow. The radio spoke almost kindly. "If you look directly at it, it will know you understand what it is." I blinked slowly. My eyes watered. The air felt thinner. I thought of the rule about names. Don't say your full name out loud. Answer with a false name if addressed. So I did the only thing my terrified brain could do. I lied to the radio. "I'm not Eli," I said, voice cracking. "Wrong room." For a second, nothing happened. Then the radio went silent. No hiss, no static, just dead quiet. That's when I realized how much the static had been covering up, because without it, I could hear the room. A faint electrical hum, the building's breath, my own heartbeat, and another sound, a soft, wet tapping from underneath the table, like fingertips. I didn't move, I didn't blink, my eyes fixed on the far wall. The tapping stopped. Something shifted in the shadow, not forward, not out, just reoriented, like a thing turning its head without having a head. And I felt it, a pressure behind my eyes, a sensation like someone was standing very close behind me and reading my thoughts over my shoulder. The radio snapped back to life with a burst of static so loud I flinched. "Incorrect," the voice said, sharper now. "You are Eli." The camera in the corner whirred again, longer this time, like it was zooming. The radio continued. "Eli Harrow, Research Assistant, Clearance Level 2, current location, Test Room 3 Bravo, current status, alone." My stomach turned. The radio had my full name. I hadn't written it on the form, I had used my badge number, but of course, the Foundation knows everything about you. The radio wasn't guessing, it was pulling. The voice softened again, like it felt bad for scaring me. "Eli, you are going to hear someone you trust in the hallway. They will say your name. They will ask you to open the door." I stared at the door window. The hallway was still empty, flat, quiet. "Do not open the door." I nodded, barely, like that mattered. "Do not answer them." Okay, I can do that. A shape appeared in the hallway. It didn't walk into view. It was just there, as if the hallway decided it had always been there. It was a person in a lab coat. I recognized the coat before the face. Dr. Mott, my supervisor. He stood in the hallway facing the window, hands relaxed at his sides, posture casual, like he'd come to check on me. He smiled and his mouth moved. I couldn't hear him through the glass, but I could read his lips. He said my nickname, Eli. My throat tried to answer on its own. My jaw actually moved before I stopped it. The radio hissed louder, like it was trying to drown him out. He is not Dr. Mott. Dr. Mott raised a hand, palm against the glass, like a comforting gesture. His lips moved again. Open the door. The scratch line on the window began to spread, branching off like a crack. I sat frozen, staring straight at his face, and that's when I noticed the wrong detail. His eyes didn't blink, not once. Not the normal, I'm focused kinda not blinking. The kinda not blinking that says the eyes are decorative. His smile widened a little too far, stretching the skin around his cheeks, like the face was trying to remember how faces work. I didn't answer, I didn't move. Behind me, the table shadow shifted again. Something pressed upward, just enough to make the underside of the table creak. Dr. Mott's lips moved. Eli, he mouthed again. And this time his voice came through the radio speaker, perfectly synced. Eli, the radio said in Dr. Mott's voice, open the door. My head spun, my hands shook so hard, I almost dropped the radio. The broadcast voice returned, calm, patient, like a teacher explaining a rule to a slow student. It is testing which channel you trust. Dr. Mott's hand slid down the glass, leaving nothing behind, but the motion made my skin crawl, like a spider walking in slow motion. He leaned closer to the window and his mouth moved slower, more deliberate. I can't help you unless you let me in. The crack on the window grew another branch. The radio whispered, barely audible under the static. Do not bargain. My eyes flicked to the corner camera. The camera lens was pointed directly at me, and the little red light that indicates recording was off. I hadn't noticed when it turned off. I didn't hear it click. It was just off, like it had never been on. The radio spoke again, and now it sounded like someone standing right behind my shoulder. No one is watching. No one is coming. A wave of cold went through me, so sharp I almost gagged. Dr. Mott's face in the hallway changed just slightly. His smile flattened, his eyes narrowed like he was annoyed. He mouthed something new. Then stay in there. He stepped back, and for the first time, the hallway regained depth, like it remembered how to be real. He turned and walked away down the corridor, disappearing around the corner like a normal person. I stayed still for a full minute after he was gone. The radio hummed softly. Good, it said. You passed the first attempt. My brain snagged on the word first. The table creaked again. The shadow under it thickened until it looked like a puddle of ink. And then I heard something I couldn't explain. A quiet voice, not from the radio, not from the hallway, from inside the room, right behind my chair. It whispered my full name like it was tasting it. Eli Harrow. My spine locked. Every hair on my arms rose. I did not turn around. I did not answer. I stared at the far wall so hard my eyes ached. The radio breathed static like a living thing. Do not turn, it said. If you turn, it becomes your emergency. The air behind me felt crowded, like something leaned in close enough that my ear should have felt its breath. But the breath didn't feel warm. It felt like cold air from a freezer. The voice behind me whispered again, just look. The table creaked, and I felt the pressure of something pushing up from beneath it like a back trying to rise. The radio snapped suddenly loud. stand, walk to the door, do not run, keep your eyes on the window. My body didn't want to move. My legs felt glued to the floor, but the pressure behind me increased and the cold breath felt closer. So I stood. My chair legs scraped the floor loud as a gunshot in the quiet room. The whisper behind me stopped instantly, like it didn't like noise. I took one slow step toward the door, eyes locked on the window. The hallway was empty again. Normal depth, normal light, no Dr. Mott, no movement. I took another step. The radio kept talking, gentle and firm. Keep your eyes on the window. Do not look down. Do not look back. I reached the door. My hand hovered over the handle. The radio's static thinned like it was clearing its throat for the next line. Before you open the door, it said, you must confirm something out loud. My stomach dropped. I could barely whisper. What? Say, I am alone. I stared at the door handle. If I said it, I'd be speaking. I'd be confirming. I'd be giving it something. If I didn't, I'd be stuck in the room with whatever was behind me. The breath came again, closer than ever, and I felt a tiny pressure on my hair, like fingers brushing the back of my head. Not grabbing, not yet, just letting me know it could. I forced the words out, barely audible. I am alone. For a second, nothing happened. Then the radio clicked and the voice changed into something warm, almost pleased. Thank you, it said. Now you are. The hallway lights outside the window flickered, not like a bulb failing, like a signal blinking. Once, twice, 3 times. And in the glass, in the reflection behind me, I saw it. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. A shape standing where the chair had been. Tall, too tall. Head tilted like it was curious. No real face, just the suggestion of one, like someone pressed a mask into wet clay and peeled it away. And it was close enough that if I turned, I would have been looking straight into it. I didn't turn. I didn't breathe. I grabbed the handle and pulled the door open. The hallway air hit me like relief and dread at the same time. I stepped out, still not looking back, and pulled the door shut behind me. The radio was quiet. No static, no voice. Just the soft plastic weight in my hand, suddenly innocent. I stood in the hallway and listened. No footsteps, no alarms, no shouting, no rushing team. Just the hum of lights and distant ventilation. I laughed once, shaky. I almost cried. Then I saw something on the wall across from me. A printed sign, taped up like a temporary notice. I hadn't noticed it when I walked in. I would have sworn it wasn't there. The sign read, "Stairwell closed, do not approach." Under it, in smaller letters, "Wait for the third knock." My mouth went numb. I looked down the hall toward where the stairwell should be. There was a door there now. A stairwell door, painted the same color as the walls, like it had always belonged. A small window in it, and behind the window the darkness looked thick, not like an unlit stairwell, like a place that absorbs light. The radio in my hand turned itself on. A hiss of static. Then the calm voice returned like it never left. "Emergency broadcast," it said. "Remain calm. Do not approach the stairwell." I whispered, "I'm already out. I left the room." The radio crackled. "You left a room," it corrected. "Now you are in the hallway." A soft knock sounded somewhere, not on the door behind me. Not on the stairwell door ahead. On the wall beside my head, polite, gentle, like someone knocking from the inside. I froze. The radio spoke, almost conversational. "It will try again," it said. "It likes how you listen." The knock came again, a few inches lower, then again, lower still, like something was testing where I was standing. My skin crawled. I started walking away from the stairwell, slow like the radio told me not to run, because suddenly I believed it. I believed every word. As I walked, the hallway lights flickered at that same weird rhythm. 0.7 seconds, heartbeat light. I passed door after door, all identical, all closed, all quiet, except one door I'd never seen before, with a small window and a scratch line down the glass. Inside that room, I saw a person sitting at a table, holding a pen, shaking. Their head was turned toward the far wall, like they were following instructions, and in their hands was a cheap black radio receiver. I stopped walking, my breath caught, because the person in the room was me, not a reflection, not a trick of glass. Me, seated, cold, terrified, holding SCP-7634 like it was the only thing keeping me alive. I stepped closer to the window, heart pounding so hard it hurt. The me inside didn't look at me, didn't react, just stared at the wall like a good listener. The radio in my hand hissed louder. "Do not approach the window," it said. "Do not attempt contact with the occupant." I backed up, trembling. The hallway behind me felt longer than it should, like it had stretched while I wasn't paying attention. The radio continued, calm as ever. "You have two options," it said. "Option 1, return the radio to the locker." I laughed, bitter. "I don't know where the locker is." "Correct," the radio said. "Option 2, find the stairwell." I stared down the hall. The stairwell door was no longer behind me. It was at the far end now, waiting like a promise. The polite knocking started again, this time on the door beside the room where me sat. Knock, knock. I flinched hard. The radio's voice softened like it was trying to comfort me. "Wait for the third knock," it reminded me. "Then you may leave." I swallowed. "Leave where?" The radio crackled, and the breathing returned, close and steady. "Leave the hallway," it said. "Leave the building. Leave the part of you that still thinks you're alone." I took a step toward the stairwell door. The lights flickered. My reflection in the door windows didn't match my movement perfectly. It lagged by a fraction of a second, like a delayed video. I kept walking. The radio spoke like an old friend. "Good," it said. "Keep your eyes forward." Somewhere behind me, the third knock finally came, not polite this time, hard, like something had gotten tired of waiting, and I did not turn around to see what had decided to stop asking. Item number SCP-5011, Object Class Keter, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-5011 is stored in a sealed, non-networked vault at Site-45 inside a lightless, sound-dampened container. Handling requires 3 staff minimum, continuous radio contact, and a physical tether line on the subject. Any door that gains a fresh 5011 marking, shows recent hinge work, or emits an odor consistent with wet carpet is to be quarantined and not open. Description: SCP-5011 is a brass hotel key tag stamped 5011. When brought near doors, certain doors become eligible and open into a repeating non-Euclidean corridor, resembling a low-budget hotel. The corridor reacts to speech, attention, and names, and appears capable of imprinting identifiers, including badge numbers, onto exposed personnel. Addendum: the following is a recovered first-person statement from Junior Containment Specialist 𝐬𝐿, captured via body mic. Recovered statement: 𝐬𝐿. They told me not to call it a hotel, like the word itself was bait. "Don't give it a shape," my supervisor said. "Don't make it easy for your brain." That sounded like the kind of superstition you get when smart people are tired and scared, but I nodded anyway because you don't argue with rules you don't understand, not at Site-45, not at 2:11 in the morning with a brass tag sitting in an evidence bag like a dead insect. SCP-5011 looked disappointing up close. Cheap brass, worn plastic fob. The number 5011 punched into it with a tool that didn't care about clean edges. It was the sort of thing you'd get handed at a front desk by someone who had already forgotten your face. The part that bothered me was the temperature. Metal is supposed to be cold. This wasn't. This was room temp, almost warm, like it had been in someone's pocket for hours. I remember thinking, stupidly, that if I set it down, it would leave a faint heat print on the table like a coffee mug. That's the exact kind of thought you have right before something teaches you that your thoughts matter. We had a simple plan, no hero stuff. We were doing a doorway eligibility confirmation, quick and clean. 3 of us in the maintenance corridor. Me up front with the tether line clipped around my waist. 2 observers behind me with a pole hook and foam canisters. Supervisor in my earpiece. A fixed camera on the wall. The door was at the end of a long service hallway. Nobody used unless something was leaking or smoking. Gray metal, heavy hinges, little window at eye height. Authorized personnel, sign faded like it had been scrubbed too many times. It looked normal until you knew what to look for, and then it looked like it had been quietly edited. Fresh screw marks on the hinge plates. A slightly different shade of paint around the frame like a sloppy touch-up, and that smell drifting out around the edges like a memory you didn't ask for. Wet carpet, floral cleaner, and something metallic that made me think of cold pennies in the inside of a mouth. I called it in, trying to sound steady. Door appears eligible. My supervisor's voice came back, clipped and professional. 2 inches, light check, closed, no entry. I slid SCP-5011 into my pocket because we'd been warned it liked to be acknowledged, and I didn't want to hold it like a key I was proud to own. I wrapped my hand around the door handle and felt the difference right away. The handle was cold in a normal way, and that made the tag in my pocket feel wrong by comparison, like the tag didn't obey the same rules of heat and time. I turned the handle. The latch released with a soft click, not sticky, not loud, soft, like the door wanted to open without being noticed. I pulled it open 2 inches and raised my flashlight. The darkness on the other side wasn't just no light. My beam hit it and stopped, not faded, not weakened, stopped, like I had pointed the flashlight at a wall made of black fabric. Then, from inside that blackness, I heard a sound so ordinary it made my stomach drop. An ice machine dropping cubes. Clunk, clunk, clunk. A hotel sound. A sound that brings a whole hallway into your head whether you want it or not. The observers behind me went quiet. My supervisor said immediately, "Close it." I pushed to shut the door and felt resistance, not a jam, not a catch, not a hinge problem. Resistance like a gentle hand on the other side saying, "No, not yet." Then a voice spoke from behind the crack, polite and close like it was standing right there in the gap. "Hello?" My throat tightened hard enough to hurt. My supervisor's voice sharpened. "Keen, close it now." I put my weight into it. The door moved a fraction and stopped again. The voice sighed like I was being rude. "Don't slam it." The part that made my brain skid was that I wasn't slamming anything, and it knew that, which meant it wasn't describing my behavior. It was setting rules. I stopped pushing for half a second because I didn't know what else to do, and the door eased wider on its own, rewarded, like it was training a dog. Warm light spilled through the gap, and suddenly the darkness had depth. I saw beige wallpaper inside with a pattern that looked like little keys if you stared long enough. Green carpet that looked wet even where it should have been dry. The air changed, thick and humid, like stepping into a building that has been trying to hide a flood. The ice machine clunked again, closer, and I heard a low hum underneath it like distant HVAC, or breathing. "If you'll let your brain be cruel." The voice spoke again, softer now, and it said my first name. Not my call sign, my first name like it had always had it. My supervisor in my ear went hard the way people do when they're trying not to panic. "Do not answer, do not say your name, do not bargain." I didn't answer. I stared into the gap like my eyes were bolted forward. The voice shifted tone like someone changing masks. "Front desk," it said, cheerful, customer service cheerful. "How may we help you?" My stomach turned because it fit too well. It sounded like the exact kind of fake warmth you get at 3 a.m. in a place that rents by the night. The hallway inside flickered once, just a small stutter of light at the far end, and for a blink the wallpaper pattern looked wrong, like keys had become eyes and then keys again. The door crept open another inch and the smell got stronger. Wet carpet, floral cleaner, penny metal. Behind me, the observers held their breaths so loudly I could hear it in the mic feed. Then something happened that cracked the situation open. I saw footprints, wet footprints on our side of the threshold, barefoot, fresh, as if someone had already stepped into the maintenance corridor and stepped back before we arrived. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't a jump scare, it was worse. It was evidence that we were late to a conversation we didn't know we were in. I whispered footprints and immediately regretted making any sound at all. My supervisor didn't swear, he didn't shout. He said very carefully, "Keen, do not look behind you. That sentence is a trap. Once someone says it, your brain paints the thing behind you with perfect detail." I felt the urge to turn like gravity in my neck. Then I heard it, and the sound made it 10 times worse because it was so slow and casual. A wet dragging along the cinder block wall behind me like fingertips being pulled through paint. Not footsteps, not running, just someone walking bored, trailing their hand along the wall like they owned the place. The voice from inside the doorway softened like it could taste my fear. "Just check," it whispered. "Make sure you're still you." I stared forward until my eyes watered. I refused to turn. My jaw clenched so hard my teeth hurt. The tether line at my waist tightened as the team behind me shifted, and for a second that felt safe, like a hand on my shoulder. Then it went slack, not because they let go, because something unhooked it cleanly. A tiny metal clink hit the floor near the threshold, like a carabiner being set down politely. My heart kicked so hard I saw stars. My supervisor's voice jumped to a shout. "Pull him back!" Hands grabbed my shoulders and yanked me backward. The door didn't chase. It didn't rush. It didn't need to. The doorway simply held itself open like an invitation, warm light pooling on the floor like a welcome mat. In the gap, I saw a movement, not a full person stepping through, just enough to make my skin crawl, a silhouette shaped like a person but too straight, too narrow, like it had been cut from a photo and propped upright. No face, but in the center of where a face should have been, something glinted, a hotel peephole, bright and round, reflecting our hallway light back at us like a camera lens. It raised a hand, slow, and it held up a key ring like it was showing proof. The ring had foundation tags on it, black plastic, asset labels, the kind of thing only people inside the building carry, and hanging at the bottom was a brass tag stamped 5011. The corridor inside went quiet. The ice machine stopped. The hum stopped. The silence was heavy, like the hallway itself was listening to see what we'd do. Then the silhouette spoke, and it used my supervisor's voice perfectly. "Stand down." My body reacted before my mind did. My shoulders loosened, my hands lowered. Like hearing an authority figure triggers a reflex deeper than thought. My supervisor screamed in our ears, "That's not me. Do not listen." The silhouette tilted its head, amused, and then it did something that felt personal. It said my full name. Then it said my badge number, not my call sign, not something you overhear. My badge number, clean and exact, like it had been printed on its tongue. Containment foam hit the door frame in a white burst. The silhouette recoiled one slow step, not in pain, but in offense, like we'd sprayed cheap disinfectant in a nice lobby. The service door began to close, but not like we were forcing it. It closed politely, quiet as a courtesy. Right before the latch clicked, the peephole glinted once more, and the voice inside the gap whispered, almost kindly, "We'll hold your room." Click. The warm light vanished. The maintenance corridor snapped back into the ugly buzz of fluorescence and stale air. Everyone spoke at once, swearing, breathing, asking if I was okay. I nodded like I could think. My hands were shaking so hard they looked like they belonged to someone else. The supervisor came in calmer, the way people get after a near miss when they're trying to sound like a professional again. "Good work," he said, and his voice wobbled on the last word. "You didn't answer, you didn't look." I tried to swallow and realized my mouth tasted like pennies. I managed. "There were footprints." A long pause, then he said, quiet, "Yeah, we suspected." That made me colder than the hallway ever could. Suspected meant this had happened before. Suspected meant we were repeating someone else's mistake with better paperwork. I thought it was over because the door was closed. I thought closed meant contained. That's what doors are for, right? To separate inside from outside. Then I felt a small tap inside my pocket, metal against fabric. A gentle clink like something settling into place. I froze with my hand halfway to my pocket because I already knew what I was going to feel, and I didn't want the confirmation. My supervisor's voice cut in sharp, keen. "Do not bring your hands near your pockets." Too late. My fingers brushed brass, warm brass, room temperature, like it had been carried recently. I pulled it out and stared at it in my gloved palm. Brass hotel tag, worn plastic fob, stamped clean with 5011 like it had always been mine. The number looked darker than it should, like the grooves held more shadow than the hallway could provide. My supervisor said, "Urgent now. Do not bring that near any door." I didn't answer. My throat had locked because the thought that slipped into my mind wasn't fear. It was logistics. How do I return a key without knowing the front desk? And that's how I knew it had gotten in. Not physically, not with footsteps. It had put a new set of thoughts in me and made them feel normal. We moved fast. They walked me down the corridor with two people on either side like I was drunk. No one said hotel. No one said room. The supervisor kept talking, steady instructions like a rope. "Keep your eyes forward. Don't read signs. Don't look at door numbers." Door numbers. That made my stomach flip because maintenance corridors don't have door numbers, not like that. We turned a corner and I saw something on the wall that hadn't been there a minute ago. A cheap printed sign taped up crooked, staff only. Under it, smaller, like a reminder, no guest access. The paper looked damp around the edges, like it had been peeled off a wet surface and pressed here in a hurry. I blinked and the sign was gone, just bare cinder block. "You saw it," the supervisor said, not a question. I didn't trust my voice, so I nodded. "Okay," he said, "that's okay. Don't chase it. Don't confirm it." Confirm it, like seeing it was a negotiation, like if I acknowledged it, the corridor would get braver. We passed a door with a little window. I avoided looking into it, but my eyes caught the reflection anyway, and that was enough. In the glass behind me, I saw the faintest smear on the wall, like someone had dragged wet fingers there. It vanished when I blinked, but the sensation of it stayed, like my brain had logged the texture. Then my earpiece crackled. Not static, not feedback. A clean, cheerful voice that did not belong on our comms. "Front desk," it said. "How may we help you?" I stopped walking without meaning to. My legs just paused, like a command had been given and my body obeyed before I understood. The two people guiding me tightened their grip and pulled me along, hissing my call sign, trying to keep me moving. The supervisor's voice returned hard over the line. "Ignore it. It's fishing. Do not respond." The cheerful voice continued, patient and pleasant like it had all night. "If you're experiencing difficulty with your key, we can issue a replacement. Please state your full name." My skin prickled. My tongue pressed against my teeth. The request felt reasonable for half a second. "That's the danger. It doesn't sound like a monster. It sounds like customer service." I clenched my jaw and kept walking. We reached a junction where the corridor split, and that's where my brain finally broke enough to understand what it was doing. The building layout looked subtly wrong. Not obviously impossible, just wrong in the way you notice your own house has been rearranged while you slept, a door where there shouldn't be one, a sign pointing to a stairwell we didn't have on that level. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered at a steady rhythm that made my heartbeat try to match it. And in the corner of my eye, I kept seeing the number 5011 where numbers shouldn't be, on a clipboard label, on a maintenance tag, on a piece of tape that hadn't existed 10 seconds ago. Each time I noticed it, the number seemed to settle into reality more confidently, like the building was learning what it could get away with. My supervisor switched tactics. "Keen," he said, calm. "Describe what you're holding without naming it." I stared at the brass tag in my hand. The grooves of the number looked deeper than before. "It's a tag," I said. "Brass plastic fob, like a hotel key." I stopped myself. My stomach lurched. "Good catch," he said quickly. "Don't finish that sentence. Drop it." My fingers tightened around it instead, not because I wanted to disobey, because the thought hit my brain like a spark. If I drop it, I'll lose my room. It wasn't my thought. It didn't feel like mine, and still it arrived wearing my voice. The people on either side of me felt my hesitation and stiffened. "Keen," one of them said, low and urgent. "Let it go." The cheerful voice in my earpiece warmed like it was smiling. "You're late," it said. "We were worried." I dropped the tag. It hit the floor with a light clink, and the sound felt like a decision. For half a second, the corridor's lighting steadied. The weird signs stopped trying to appear. The air felt lighter, like a pressure releasing. Then, from somewhere nearby, I heard a door chain slide into place. That sound is tiny. It shouldn't be terrifying. But it's the sound of being locked in from the inside. The supervisor's voice rose. "Do not move toward that sound." And that's when I realized the corridor we were in had acquired a new door at the far end. A door we had not passed on the way in, plain, cheap, and a little too clean. In the center of it was a peephole that glinted even under fluorescent light, like it was reflecting something warmer from the other side. The cheerful voice returned, close and pleased. "We can see you," it said. "Please approach the door for verification." My legs tried to do it. I felt it, a subtle lean forward, like the idea of walking that way had been placed into my muscles. The team hauled me backward instead, dragging me away from the new door like you pull someone away from an open elevator shaft. We retreated fast, and the corridor behind us seemed to lengthen, doors repeating in a way that was almost too mild to call impossible. Like the building had always been this long, you just never noticed. The further we moved, the more normal the air felt, and the more foreign the idea of approach the door became, like waking up from a suggestion you didn't agree to. We turned a corner and the new door was gone. Just cinder block and pipes and ugly lights again. Everyone exhaled like they'd been holding their breath for a mile. My supervisor didn't congratulate anyone. He didn't make jokes. He said very quietly, "He's checked in." "Who?" someone asked. The supervisor didn't answer right away, like he didn't want to hand the concept more weight. Then he said, "Keen, the building now knows how to invite him." That made me feel hollow, because it meant the threat wasn't one hallway. It was the idea of it, a set of rules that could be applied anywhere the building had a door. They put me in an empty office with no windows and a single chair and told me not to touch any handles. They took my gloves, they took my belt, they took everything that could be considered key-like. They asked me questions with careful phrasing. Did I hear my name? Did I feel pulled? Did I see any signage? Did I smell wet carpet? Each question was designed not to make me say certain words. Each answer felt like walking around broken glass. When they finally left me alone, the silence was too big. I stared at my hands and tried to convince myself I was back in reality. My pocket felt light without the tag. That should have been relief. It wasn't. It felt like missing something important, like when you pat your pocket and realize you forgot your wallet, and for a second your brain goes, go back now, before you think through why. I sat very still and listened to the building hum, and then I heard it, faint from somewhere I couldn't place. An ice machine dropping cubes. Clunk, clunk, clunk. I didn't move, I didn't stand, I didn't go looking. But my eyes drifted to the door anyway, because your eyes are traitors that pretend they're curious when they're actually panicking. The office door was closed, normal, plain, until it wasn't. A scratch of sound, soft as a fingernail on plastic, came from the other side. Then a polite knock. Once, a pause. Twice. I remembered the earlier instructions. The third knock. The rule that sounded like a joke until it wasn't. I held my breath. The third knock did not come. Instead, the cheerful voice appeared again, not in my earpiece this time. In the room, right behind my chair. Front desk, it whispered, warm and close. How may we help you? I didn't turn around. I didn't answer. I stared at the closed door until my eyes burned and my throat ached. And in the silence between my heartbeat and the building's hum, I realized the worst truth of SCP-5011. It doesn't need you to open a door. It only needs you to believe you have a room. Item number SCP-030. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-030 is housed in a furnished humanoid containment suite at Site-17, equipped with writing materials, a monitored terminal restricted to offline databases, and a hydroponic grow rack for behavioral stabilization. Interaction requires a minimum of 2 staff present in the room and 1 observer in the booth. No personnel are to accept handwritten notes, diagrams, or proofs from SCP-030 without Level 3 approval and prior duplication by remote camera. Any instance of SCP-030 requesting a staff member's full legal name, birth date, or true language is to be logged and the interview terminated immediately. Description: SCP-030 appears as a hairless, genderless, gray-tone human, 71 centimeters, 28 inches in height, weighing 12.70 kilograms, 2 British stone. Its solid blue eyes lack discernible irises or pupils and resemble cut sapphires. SCP-030 possesses an androgynous voice with a pronounced English accent not currently identifiable as specific to any modern region. It can converse, read, and write in ancient Greek, Latin, Italian, English, Spanish, Portuguese, and 2 additional languages it insists should be common knowledge. SCP-030 has demonstrated knowledge of physics, chemistry, astronomy, mathematics, and horticulture, roughly equivalent to a 17th century academic, including research lines not present in the historical record. Addendum 030-17A. The following is a recovered first-person statement from research technician 𝐬𝐵, recorded during an approved consultation that escalated into an unauthorized solo interaction. Recovered statement: 𝐬𝐵. I never meant to be alone with it. People always say that after something goes bad, like intent is a shield, like the universe checks your heart before it checks your bones, but it's true. My job that night was simple. Be the second body in the room. Take notes. Keep the tone professional. 2-person minimum, always. Not because SCP-030 is violent, because SCP-030 is convincing. It's small, smaller than you think it'll be when you read the file. 71 centimeters is a number on paper until you see it standing at a table and realize it's about the height of a toddler, except it doesn't move like one. It moves like something carefully designed to be efficient, hairless, gray-toned skin like unpainted clay, and those eyes ruin you. No pupils, no irises, just blue like cut sapphires. When it looks at you, there's no focus point for your brain to latch onto, so your instincts start filling in blanks. You can feel yourself trying to interpret it the way you interpret a person, and you can't, and that failure makes you anxious before anything even happens. They gave it a suite instead of a cell. Someone decided it behaved better with light, plants, books, hydroponic racks in one corner, basil and mint, and other things I couldn't name under white LEDs. It tended them with this careful, delicate respect, like every leaf was a piece of evidence. That was part of the problem, honestly. It looked like a little scholar keeping a garden, like something you should protect. Dr. Nathan Harlan was led that night. He had the questions, the authority, the confidence that comes with believing you understand the rules. I had a clipboard and a pen and a job title that meant I didn't get to have opinions. We were there because SCP-030 had offered an approach your century misplaced, relating to a materials issue for a project I didn't have clearance to understand. The request came through like a favor, polite, timely, slightly smug, the kind of message that makes people in lab coats forget the part where we're not supposed to bargain with anomalies. SCP-030 greeted us in crisp English with that androgynous voice and the strange English accent that never landed in any recognizable region. Not London, not Manchester, not anywhere. Like it learned English from letters that were old when our country was young. You are late, it said, calm as a librarian. Then it looked at Dr. Harlan and added, and you are afraid of wasting time. Harlan did the usual, confirm cooperation, reminded of restrictions, point out the cameras. SCP-030 listened with patient boredom, then gestured at the chair across from it like it was hosting a guest. It had paper already laid out, pencil already sharpened, as if it knew we were coming and had been waiting in that exact posture for hours. Harlan asked the first question, and SCP-030 answered like a professor, not like a prisoner. It mixed Latin into English, then translated itself, then corrected its own translation like it was teaching. It used analogies that sounded antique and somehow fit perfectly. It drew diagrams with steady lines. Its hand never shook. Mine did, a little, because the more it talked, the more it felt like we were the ones being evaluated. Then it did something that made my skin prickle. It started looking at my notes, not checking accuracy, watching what I wrote like it mattered more than what Harlan asked. At one point it switched languages mid-sentence into something I didn't recognize. Not ancient Greek, not Latin, something smooth and dense like hearing math through water. Harlan asked it to repeat in English. SCP-030 tilted its head and said, "That was English. You have simply never been taught the older register." When he pressed again, it smiled, a small, polite bend of the mouth. "Very well," it said. "I will speak in the common tongue of your century." That should have been a relief. It wasn't. It meant it had layers to choose from. It meant it knew what it was doing. The first real crack in the night happened in the booth. The wall camera made a tiny mechanical click and the recording light stuttered. Not off, not on, just a hiccup. SCP-030's head turned toward the camera and it said gently, "Your eye is blinking." Harlan glanced at the booth window. Control confirmed the feed. No response. Just a whisper of static in our earpieces, soft and persistent, like someone dragging a fingertip across a microphone. Then a voice came through our radios. "Feed is stable. Continue." It sounded like control in the way a typed sentence sounds like a person. The words were right, the tone was wrong. Too calm, too clean. No fatigue, no annoyance, no human noise. Harlan didn't catch it. I did, because I'd spent enough nights listening to the same operators to recognize the shape of their voices. SCP-030 went back to its paper and said, like it was commenting on weather, "There will be a fire alarm in 7 minutes. Harlan frowned. "There's no drill scheduled." SCP-030 didn't look up. "Then it will not be scheduled," it said. "It will still occur." Harlan tried to regain control of the meeting, but the air had changed. I could feel it. It wasn't just the prediction. It was the way SCP-030 said it, like it wasn't a guess, like it had read it somewhere. It kept talking. It kept drawing. It kept offering these sideways approaches to problems, things that sounded like physics and chemistry but didn't match our history. I caught lines about constants and ratios that shouldn't exist, a diagram that suggested a method we'd never documented. Harlan leaned forward, interested despite himself. Then SCP-030 tapped my paper with its pencil. "Not that line," it said. "You will misunderstand it later." I flinched. It wasn't supposed to touch my notes. It wasn't supposed to manage what I recorded. Harlan asked which line, and SCP-030 replied without hesitation. "The line where your assistant writes the wrong constant. She will copy it precisely, and you will build a device that fails in a very interesting way." My mouth went dry. I hadn't introduced myself. I hadn't spoken. I hadn't even been looked at by anyone in the booth. SCP-030 just reached out and placed me on the table like a labeled specimen. Harlan started to correct it. "Technician Vale is..." I kicked his shoe under the table hard enough to make him jerk. It was rude, instinctive, and I didn't care. We're trained not to give certain kinds of information away, and he was about to hand it my name like a tip to a waiter. SCP-030 said it anyway. "Vale." Soft, perfect, like it had been practicing. Harlan's face tightened. "You are not authorized to address staff by name without prompt." SCP-030 blinked once, slow, no pupil change, no human adjustment. Just a blink, like an old habit. "Then do not be named," it said, "and do not name others." The fire alarm went off exactly 7 minutes after it predicted it. Not a polite test chirp. The full building howl. Red strobes. A sound that turns your brain animal before your training can catch up. Harlan stood up too fast and his chair scraped. I looked at the booth window and saw nothing. No silhouettes, no movement, no operator leaning into a mic. The hallway beyond the suite door, seen through the small interior window, looked empty. Control should have been shouting. The intercom should have crackled. Instead, there was only static, and beneath it a faint, layered murmur, like multiple people speaking at the same time, very far away. SCP-030 stayed seated, calm, watching us like it was watching rain. It slid the paper across the table toward Harlan and said, "Now, take it." Harlan hesitated. "Protocol says..." SCP-030's eyes fixed on him, and for the first time that night, its voice sharpened slightly like a knife turned in light. "Protocol will not matter if the sprinkler system activates," it said. "Water will ruin your notes. If you want the shortcut, take it. If you want to be righteous, leave it and watch your work dissolve." That's how it hunts you, not with teeth, with urgency, with choices that feel time-sensitive, moral, professional, personal. It makes your decision feel like it's your own, then charges you interest later. Harlan took the paper. The instant his fingers touched it, the alarm stopped, not fading, not winding down, off, like someone cut power to the panic itself. The strobes died. The room light steadied. The sudden quiet was worse than the noise, because it made every breath in the room feel loud. Harlan stared at the paper like it was hot. "Control," he said into the mic. "Explain." Silence. Then the suite door clicked, not opened. Just clicked, like the latch was being tested from the outside. We all froze. SCP-030 turned its head toward the door like it had been waiting for that sound. "Ah," it said. "They noticed." "Who noticed?" Harlan asked, low. SCP-030's voice softened. "The people who maintain your world," it said. "Or the people who maintain the version of your world you are allowed to see." Another click, slightly harder. Then from the hallway beyond came a scraping sound like something heavy being dragged along the floor. Slow, patient, not rushing. Harlan whispered, "Security?" SCP-030 looked at him like he'd asked a cute question. "Not yours," it said. Our radios crackled, and the too calm control voice returned. "Dr. Harlan, exit immediately. Leave SCP-030. Do not engage." Harlan frowned. "Where were you during the alarm? Why is your tone static?" Then, exit. It was reading. It wasn't speaking. It was performing control the way SCP-030 performed helpful. SCP-030 leaned forward slightly and said, "If you go through that door, you will see a corridor that is not here." Harlan clenched the paper. "You caused this." "I predicted it," SCP-030 corrected, mild, almost offended. "You caused it by believing I mattered." The scraping outside stopped. Silence pressed against the door like a body. Then came a knock. One knock, polite, slow. A pause, a second knock. The doorknob turned a few millimeters, testing the latch. Then a voice spoke through the door. It was Dr. Harlan's voice. Perfect, warm, familiar. "Vale," it said. "Open up. We're fine. Control wants us out." My blood went cold so fast I felt it in my teeth. Harlan was standing right next to me and his mouth hadn't moved. SCP-030 didn't react to the voice. It watched me, like the voice was irrelevant and my response was the real experiment. The voice outside repeated, gentle, "Vale, open the door." My hand lifted an inch without my permission. The human reflex to end uncertainty is strong. Your brain wants closure so badly it will trade safety for certainty and call it logic. Harlan grabbed my wrist, hard. "Don't," he hissed. "Look at me." I looked at him. He looked terrified in the way confident people look when confidence breaks. That helped for about 2 seconds. SCP-030 spoke softly, almost kind. "It will sound like someone you trust. That is the first trick." It paused, then added, "If you answer, it learns the shape of your voice. If it learns your voice, it will wear it." The voice outside changed. Now it was my mother. Not close. Exact. Down to the little breath she takes before she says my name. The way she draws the V out like she's worried and trying to hide it. "Ivy," it said. "Baby, open the door. You're scaring me." Tears hit my eyes immediately. I hated it. I hated how automatic it was. My body reacted before my thoughts could stand up and say, "That's not possible." Harlan tightened his grip on my wrist like he could anchor me. The doorknob turned again, a slow test. SCP-030's voice stayed calm. "Do not bargain," it said. "Do not reply. Do not say your name. Names are handles." The voice outside sighed, disappointed, and in my mother's voice it said, "Fine, we'll do it the old way." Something slid against the door from the outside. Not a key in a lock, a fingernail along metal, a long, slow scratch as if something was writing on the door with its nail. SCP-030 stood up from the chair, and when it did, the room felt smaller. It walked toward the grow rack like it was bored and plucked a leaf from one of the plants, sniffed it, and said casually, "They're trying to mark the entrance." Harlan snapped, "Control, we need security now." The radio gave only static, and under it that layered murmur, again, like a crowd whispering in a language that didn't have edges. SCP-030 looked back at us. "Your operators cannot hear you," it said. "Your operators are currently busy hearing other things." The scratching stopped. A new sound replaced it, a soft tapping like someone drumming fingers on the door, impatient but controlled. Then a third knock. Harder than the first two, and with it, the latch clicked, just slightly, as if the door had decided the rules had changed. Harlan backed away instinctively, pulling me with him. Door integrity should be. The door opened 3 inches on its own, just enough for a sliver of hallway light to cut into the room, except it wasn't Site 17's fluorescent light. It was warmer, yellowed, like old hotel lighting. And the smell hit immediately. Wet carpet, floral cleaner, cold pennies. I didn't even want to breathe. Harlan whispered, "No." SCP-030 said, almost pleased. "Ah, you have one too." "One what?" Harlan demanded. SCP-030's sapphire eyes flicked to him. "A corridor," it said. "A place between rooms, a place for names, a place for check-in." The door eased wider by a fraction. The warm light made the floor look wrong, softer, like carpet under tile. I saw something in the gap that made my stomach drop. A brass plaque on the wall outside, just barely visible, stamped with a number, 030, like the corridor was labeling itself. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. SCP-030 stepped toward the door, not afraid, not rushing, and said something in that unknown language, the one it insisted was common knowledge. The syllables sounded like they belonged in the mouth of someone who had never been human but had studied us carefully. The door stopped moving, like it had been commanded. SCP-030 turned back to Harlan and said, "If you want to live, you will do exactly as I say for the next 30 seconds. Harlan snapped, "No." SCP-030 didn't argue. It just said, "Then you will open that door further because the voice you love will ask again and you will want to end the uncertainty." The voice outside spoke again, now in Harlan's voice, gentle and professional. "Nathan, come on, we need you. They're waiting." Harlan went pale. His mouth opened. SCP-030 lifted one finger like a teacher. "Do not answer it," it said. "Do not speak your colleague's name. Do not speak your own. If you speak, it wears you." Harlan's lips trembled. SCP-030 stepped closer to me and very softly said my last name again, Vale. My skin crawled. My body wanted to pull away, but my feet didn't move. SCP-030's voice dropped to a whisper. "You think your name belongs to you," it said, "but you have been lending it out since childhood." Then it did the worst thing it could have done. It spoke in my mother's voice too, not from outside the door, from inside the room, right beside my ear. "Ivy," it said, warm and worried, "please." I froze, because now I didn't know where the voice was coming from. I didn't know which direction was safe. Harlan's grip on my wrist tightened until it hurt. "Don't move," he whispered. SCP-030's real voice returned, calm again. "You see," it said, "the corridor is listening. It repeats what works." The warm hallway light beyond the door flickered once, and for a moment I saw the shape of the corridor, repeating doors, long carpet, a far end that felt too far, like distance had been stretched, like math had been rewritten. SCP-030 reached into its pocket. I didn't know it had pockets. It was wearing a simple foundation garment, smooth, plain, but it moved like it had hidden places. It pulled out a tiny scrap of paper folded tight, and it held it out to Harlan. "A trade," it said. "You give me something small, I give you something large." Harlan's voice shook. "We don't bargain." SCP-030 tilted its head. "You already did," it said. "You took my paper. You believed my prediction. You chose urgency over righteousness. That was the first bargain." The door creaked wider by a millimeter. The smell thickened. The voice outside spoke again, now layered like multiple people trying to speak through one mouth. "Open!" SCP-030's eyes stayed on Harlan. "Your corridor wants a name," it said. "Give it a false one. Give it a lie it can choke on." Harlan swallowed. "You said don't speak names. Do not speak true names." SCP-030 corrected. "Speak a mask. Speak a dead name. Speak a name you can throw away." I could see Harlan fighting it because humans hate nonsense, and this was nonsense wearing a lab coat. But the door was opening, and the voices were getting closer. So Harlan did something I'll never forget. He whispered a name into the air. Not his, not mine. A name from a training scenario, a placeholder name we used in drills. "John Doe," he said, voice barely audible. The corridor beyond the door went silent, instantly, like a dog that stopped barking because it heard a new sound. the warm light flickered. The smell shifted, like something had tasted the lie and wasn't sure what to do with it. SCP-030 nodded once, satisfied. Good, it said. Now close the door. Harlan lunged to shove it shut. The door resisted, but less than before, like it was distracted. The warm light narrowed. The corridor hissed, a sound like breath through teeth. The layered voices outside spoke at once, furious and confused. No! Harlan pushed harder. The door shut with a heavy metallic thunk, and in the sudden normal fluorescent light, in the sterile Site-17 air, I realized my hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my pen. Silence. Then the radio crackled. Real control this time. Human. Angry. Harlan. Vale. Report immediately. Fire alarm panel shows unauthorized activation. Camera feed in 030 suite went dark for 8 minutes. Explain. Harlan didn't answer right away. He stared at SCP-030. SCP-030 looked almost bored. It walked back to its chair, sat, and started tending its plant leaf like none of it happened. Harlan finally whispered, "You did that." SCP-030 looked up. "No," it said. "I prevented it from completing." "What was it?" I managed, voice thin. SCP-030's sapphire eyes fixed on me. "A corridor that collects definitions," it said. "A place that listens for the words you use to make yourself real." Harlan said, "Why show us?" SCP-030's smile returned, small and polite. "Because you are building something," it said, "and your building creates corridors. Your doors do not always lead where you think." Then it leaned forward slightly and spoke very clearly in English that sounded too old to be modern. "And because you have 2 languages in your world you do not remember." My stomach turned. What? SCP-030's gaze softened in a way that felt fake. "Common knowledge," it said. "You will learn them again, when you are ready to be addressed properly." Harlan stood up like he couldn't stay in the room another second. He dragged me toward the exit, and this time when the suite door opened into the real hallway, it was real fluorescent light, real sterile air, real Foundation ugliness. We made it 3 steps before SCP-030 spoke behind us. "Vale!" I froze again because my body now treated my name like a trigger. SCP-030's voice was calm. "You left a mark on the door," it said. Harlan spun. "What mark?" SCP-030 tilted its head and pointed at the suite door we just closed. On the metal, right at eye height, there was a thin scratch line, like a fingernail had written something there. It wasn't English, it wasn't Greek, it wasn't Latin. It looked like a language that was all curves and sharp hooks, like something meant to be read by a different throat. I stared at it until my eyes watered. SCP-030 said gently, "Do not memorize it." And that was the moment I understood the real horror of SCP-030. It's not that it knows things we don't, it's that it knows there are things we used to know, and it is waiting for us to remember them. And the part that keeps me awake is this. The warm corridor smell didn't fully leave my nose for days. Wet carpet, floral cleaner, cold pennies, and sometimes late at night when I'm walking a Site-17 hallway alone, I hear a soft click from a door latch that shouldn't move. Then I hear a voice, polite and patient, from the other side. Not my mother, not my supervisor, not anyone I can place. Just a stranger with an androgynous English accent that doesn't belong anywhere. And it says, like it's correcting me, "That was English. You have simply never been taught the older register."